Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you a fun fold card. It has a scene on it, it has 3 panels. So I saw it's on a couple different cards in Pinterest using different designer papers that have a scene in them. And I've seen it called the 3-panel scenery, and it's a Z-fold card. So we're gonna call it the 3-panel scenery Z-fold card. So there you go. This one has the paper trimming the town. It's in the holiday catalog, and it has these beautiful colors in it with different scenes, and then you've got different stripes and patterns in it, but it's a really beautiful paper. And so I'm going to be using the pattern. Now it comes in 12 by 12, and I'm using this pattern here that has the mountains on it. So on this card, I use the upper part because you're going to need a 6-inch piece by 5 1/4. And so I use this upper portion of this card, and then I had this part left over at the bottom. So that's what we're going to put on the other card we're going to make. So just remember that it's a 12 by 12, so you're going to get a lot of use out of it because it's got a big, a big landscape to use there. Okay, so I used the new In Color Misty Moonlight on this card. I also used the Winter Snow embossing folder that's in the holiday catalog. It's got beautiful, very delicate snowflakes in it, and it's just a great addition to jazz up a plain area of your card. Okay, so we've got to score our card. So we are going to start out with our Misty Moonlight. It's a half sheet. It's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. All these measurements will be on my blog, CindyLeeBDesigns.com. You can just look at the description underneath the YouTube video. It says visit my blog. There's a link, press it, you're taken over to my blog. You'll see additional photos and all the supplies I use, all the measurements, but those are also on the YouTube video description underneath right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. And so we've got the 8 1/2 inch side up at the top of our Stampin' Trimmer. And so we're going to score at 1 1/2, and then we're going to score at 4 1/4. Okay, so we've got, using our lighter blade, not scoring blade, we're gonna go to 1 1/4, score, then take that left side over to 4 1/4 and score again. That is our easy scoring. And that the card goes together this way. We just fold back that 1 1/4 panel, and we're gonna decorate this side. I used that Winter Snow embossing folder, as I said. So I'm going to adhere that to that panel because it just gives me an idea of what I'm doing then. So you're just going to put that in this section over here. Now the measurement for this one is, its width is 2 3/4, and the height of it, the length, I guess, of it is 5 1/4. So that gives us a nice 1/8 inch border around that. So this portion is going to have this panel on here. Now, if you take these 3 panels and add them together, it equals 6 inches. Okay, but what we're going to do is take a look here at I cut this down to 5 1/4 for the height of the scene, and then we're going to be cutting it into 3 separate areas. Okay, so the measurements are, this panel here is 2 1/4, this panel is 1 5/8, and this one is 2 1/8. So let's just make sure I did not write those down wrong. So the first one is 2 1/4, 1 5/8, and 2 1/8. And then this last section here, it is 5 1/4 tall, but it's about a little bit more than 1 3/4. So technically all these little tiny tick marks on here are 1/16 of an inch. So it's actually 1 13/16. So you just go over from 16/16 is at your any inch mark, and then just go 1 2 3 down. Okay, so once we started doing all of our measuring of cards, I really got easily learned my 16th inches and everything. I used to always hear my husband measuring things when he's putting up blinds and I'd be like, oh gosh, but now I know them pretty well. So that's going to be the panel that goes in the last portion there. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut our paper. Now let's make sure that we're cutting it in the right way. Like that first one is 2 1/4. So 2 1/4. And we're going to cut. Then we're at 1 5/8, so not keeping the paper going over, because remember, we're creating a scene. So we're creating a scene. 1 1/2 and then 1 5/8 right there. And if we've done it right, we're going to have 2 1/8 left over. And look at that, we did it correctly. There you go. You've got your 3 panels. So let's take those off. But the one key to this that I saw in a couple different cards, there were a couple different videos. Well, there was one video I watched and then somebody who had put that one on her card. So what you want to do is put this one on first, so that when you put the first one on, it's going to cover that up. So let's just go ahead and put on this white one here. And I'm going to go ahead, put some of the, and I'm going to put an 1/8 of an inch border all around an equal amount there. Okay, so there we've got our last portion where you can write your message. And then remember, we're going to always keep these in order. Oh, it's upside down. There we go. There. So those are our pieces. Now we're going to fold our card shut, and we're going to put that first one on now, knowing that we want it to line up so that that white on the back is covered. So that is very easy to do, but we're just going to put some adhesive right on this 1 1/4 inch section. And then, like I said, we're just going to kind of keep that down with our hand. Let me push these out of the way so you can see a little better. And then we're just knowing that we want to cover this up so we can kind of hold it there. But we also want to be cognizant of keeping this, I'm going to do it this way. We do want to have a nice straight edge there too. So let's cover up. I'm actually going to do it this way so that I can see that I'm straight this way and that I'm covering up that last portion. So that is my first portion of the card. Sorry, I shook the camera there. Then my next section is going to go here. And then this section will be here. Creates a nice little scene. Do you see how quick this is? So think of any designer paper that you have. Like I said, the Well Done one is a great one because it's got some great scenes in it. And okay, let's put that. I want to get a little bit of a border there. And you can leave a little bit skinnier here because you're going to go on both sides of the score line. And then put some adhesive on this one. Line up those. The road. There we go. And we've got our scene there. Isn't that cute? And it just folds over. So anyhow, the Well Done, and then is it the Feels Like Frost? Is it Feels Like Frost? You know, that really pretty one that has the photos that are kind of blurred and close up. I'm wanting to say Feels Like Frost is the designer. You know, I should know that right off the top of my mind. But it's the one that carried over. And so it's got beautiful scenes in it. It really lends itself well to a card like this. But you could also take and use the mountain scene one we have. What is that one called? Mountain Air. That Mountain Air stamp set would be great to create a scene and then cut the scene apart. Or the Snow Front. Or the My Meadow that's retired now, but if it's still in your stamp room, you can use that. So anything you can build a scene up and then cut it into 3 so that when you open it up, it has that neat effect there. So then I just went with a snow theme here, and I just used the Let It Snow, and that Let It Snow comes from the Snowman season, Let It Snow. So I just popped there we go. I just put that using my layering circles. I used a scallop to go around the stitched shapes dies, and then I just put that right on the front of my card. Now remember, you don't want to glue it down to this section, you only want it over on this section. And when I did that, I used my dimensionals. And I'm going to pull out and use the edges here. And remember, it's going to go on the designer part. So there we go. Just put those dimensionals on there. And then just place that. I kind of did it right about there. Looks good to me. So now it opens up and you have a place over here. Now, what I really love about the stamp set, now the designer paper Trimming the Town comes with in a suite with Coming Home with the beautiful dies that go with that. But I wanted to use the great little tree here, the without any leaves, that like winter tree. So I just put it on my block, and I'm using Early Espresso, and it's a perfect to go with the scene here. And just put a little tree down at the bottom there. And then I just got out, I got out using yet another stamp set. I love this Merry Christmas, and it fit in here perfectly. And if you look at the fonts on the Let It Snow and the Merry Christmas, they kind of are kind of printing and kind of cursive, and they've kind of got that same style design of the words. So I went ahead and used the Merry Christmas from the Have a Hoot. This is a cute one, Have a Hoot. So I used Poppy Parade, one of the colors that's in the designer paper. And I'm just going to pop that right at the top here. It didn't fit quite down here, so I decided to put it up here. And I've got to make sure it's going to be straight here. Hoping it's straight. There we go. Merry Christmas. And then I just popped on some cute little Pool Party, the color that's in the designer paper as well. And since the theme is Let It Snow, put on little snowflakes. Put a few scattered around our tree. Ooh, and, I'm nervous to do this, but I just wonder what they would look like on this designer paper. Some like snowflakes around. Oh, they do look nice. So I'm just going to add a few around. Let's see, maybe up here. So I just added a few of these snowflakes throughout the paper, and I think they look cute. Oh, you know where I need another one? I'm thinking right here. So that Pool Party, let me see, bum, bum, maybe there. Okay, so a few little snowflakes on there, and your card is finished that fast. I should have timed myself. So right there, you just take a half sheet of your paper. It's 8.5 by 5.5. You're going to score it at 1 1/4 and 4 1/4, and then you're going to fold back the 1 1/4 inch part. This piece here is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. All these measurements on my blog. Then you'll take a 6 inch by 5 1/4 inch seamed paper, and you're going to cut it down to 2 1/4, 1 5/8, and 2 1/8, and they're all in the row, and then you just pop them in those sections. This piece is 5 1/4 by 1 13/16. That's one little tiny blip past 1 3/4. Then you finish off your card, and I really do want to attempt to make this with a stamped scene to see how it turns out, but look how super easy that is. Oh darn, why didn't I stamp this in the Misty Moonlight? I like it better on here. I guess that one ended up with the red. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com. you can text or call me at 724-323-2296. I'd love to get snapshots of your cards. If you text me a picture of your card, if you made one of these or you came up with another design or a different paper that you used, I really enjoyed that. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.